Miami Dolphins coaching staff. Were they the problem? Or was it the players on the team? I'm going to talk about that and a few other things. Let's jump into it. What is up, Finn fans? How are you guys doing on this Monday? I'm just changing the calendar so I can give you guys some trivia for today. I was going to do a video yesterday kind of recapping and talking about the Senior Bowl, but I was like, you guys didn't really like the Senior Bowl video I did last time, and you guys didn't like it. It didn't get as many views, and that's kind of what I go by, the thumbs ups. So if you guys like videos, you give a thumbs up, then I know, hey, they like this type of content. I'm going to continue to build off that. And views. If it gets a lot of views or if it gets the normal amount of views, then I'm like, okay, people are watching this. I'm going to continue. And you guys didn't really care about the Senior Bowl. I will do prospects, but I'll talk a little bit about the Senior Bowl. We're going to talk about the coaching staff, though, because we got lucky. We got very lucky. But before we jump into all that, I have to shout out today's sponsor, and that is Mando. I've talked about Mando. I have so much, and I'm talking so much different Mando products, and I love every single one of them. I even got the wipes. Now, Valentine's Day is coming up. It is, a week from Friday. You want to be smelling good, whether it's your pits, whether it's you want to be smelling good. Why don't you try some Mando? Mando is a whole body deodorant. It's safe to use anywhere on your body. Your pits, your downstairs bonanza, your folds, your belly button, your butt crack, and your feet. So if you're thinking about getting a foot massage, how you doing? Created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Clinically proven to block odors all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. I kid you not. I put this deodorant on, and it really does last a while, especially when you're sweating. I was doing yard work and all this other stuff, so it really, really, really does help. All products, baking soda free and a paraben free as well. And I have sensitive armpits. This stuff is really good. Clinically proven to control odor better than showers with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man downstairs odor level was a 5 out of 10. There's something wrong with you, man. With Mando, the average downstairs bonanza is 0 out of 10. So why don't you go check it out? You get the starter pack, which I showed you here. Mando starter pack is perfect for the new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant. It comes with a cream tube of deodorant. It also comes with 2 free products of your choice, whether it's the mini body wipes or the deodorant wipes, which are these, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code, which is DDW. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack using code DDW at shopmando.com. That is shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. And I think that's why it's a good name, Mando, head to toe. Mando. But it's free. Go check them out. I love their scents. I love their products. I literally wear them. So go check them out. And again, Valentine's Day is coming up, so you want to smell good. So let's get into some news, some breaking news. Not really breaking. This happened over the weekend, but I want to talk to you guys about it. And this is what happens when I don't check things. But Chop Robinson is a finalist. And I'm very happy about this because you guys know how much I am a fan of Chop Robinson. He is a finalist for the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, I think Verse is going to win it, but the fact that Chop Robinson, who had more sacks on the season than Verse, is a finalist for Rookie of the Year, it's just a bright future for him. And I've already seen videos of Jalen Phillips pushing the sled. I think he'll be back. It sucks too, because Jalen Phillips' injuries were not his fault. It's not like, he twisted his leg the wrong way, or it's not like it's a constant hamstring, or it's a constant turf toe or groin injury. His first major injury was a torn Achilles because of the horrible field at MetLife. And his second injury was, Jordan Poyer shooting at his knee, taking him out, and he had an ACL injury. Neither one of those injuries were his fault. So if that man could just stay healthy, he had 8.5 sacks. To pair him with Chop on the other side is going to be incredibly dangerous. And you have Sealer in the middle. Very, very dangerous. Hopefully he can stay healthy. This is a contract year for him. So some things I want to talk about. First and foremost, again, sloppy editing, Doug. There's this little bit of good news coming from Adam Schefter saying, back to the NFL, former Eagles head coach Chip Kelly is being hired as the Raiders offensive coordinator. This came yesterday, and it is great news because that means that the Miami Dolphins will be keeping my best friend, Darrell Bevell, as the quarterback's coach, and I think that is huge, and I think that will really help the continuity in that quarterback room, especially with Tua Tagovailoa, because yes, Tua, regardless if we want him there or not, will be the quarterback in 2025. Also, it was reported that the Saints have informed people that they are going to continue talking with Kellen Moore. Now, they informed the other candidates. I think that's their guy. I think Kellen Moore is their guy, and I think he is going to be their new head coach. It's more of waiting for Sunday, or maybe they do a Brian Flores, what we did with Flores, which essentially hire him before the Super Bowl, so he knows after the Super Bowl, hey, you are our head coach, yada, yada, which is, again, good news for the Miami Dolphins, because that means Anthony Weaver will come back, and I'm hearing he wants to come back. Obviously from Ian Rappaport. He wants to come back and continue to stay a Miami Dolphin, which means the only turnover we have is Reggie McKenzie, who was like a senior scout or senior front office, going to the Titans in the same aspect, and Crossman released and Wes Welker released. So there's only 2 changes in the coaching scheme, and there was 1 in the front office. And that is where it brought me to this whole discussion I want to have. Is it the coaches that were the problem last year, or was it the players on the field and the talent on the field? And I would say, I broke down film. I think the only time I didn't break down film was the last week of the season, because there's really no point. I would say I would give it 60%, maybe even 65%, the talent on the field and the players, and I would give it 35% on the coaching. Now, you might say to yourself, well, you're very critical of Mike McDaniel, and you're kind of giving slack and not as critical of the other coaches. Mike McDaniel's the head coach, so he has the final say. And also, if you look at the things that he has control over, there's still a problem, and it's stuff that bothers me, right? Like, you look at the defense, and you look at where we ranked, and the points given up, and our turnovers could be better. But again, the turnovers being better could be the product of the talent on the field, not necessarily what Weaver is calling and putting players in place, because we saw Cam Smith getting beat. We saw Kader Kohu getting beat. We saw Storm Duck getting beat. We even saw Jalen Ramsey at times, when he tried to throw himself back to make a stop because he had a complete blown coverage. We've seen these things happen, but we've also seen games like the Rams where our defense was going off. We were getting sacks, we were getting pressure, we were getting turnovers, whether it was Dotson getting interception or, all of these guys doing their things. Our safeties were bad last year. If they were not injured, they were just playing bad. So for me, on the defensive front, I think that was a lot had to do with coaching, and obviously some of the play on the field. I think having Sealer and Calais Campbell and Chop playing well, and then our linebacking core finally, when they made the decision, and that is where my problem is, right? Because with Mike McDaniel and with the offense, he saw Julian Hill, Liam Eichenberg, Huntley was too early. Huntley should not have played against the Tennessee Titans. He was not ready. You saw a big difference between when he played at Tennessee versus when he played at Cleveland. Obviously, and we saw a big difference against the Jets. These guys weren't good, yet we kept trotting them out there, especially Liam Eichenberg, and making these horrible non-adjustments. When you saw Weaver, we got rid of David Long Jr., brought Dotson in for him. Anthony Walker was taken out because he kept getting burned by Embry. Not Embry. That's the tight end's coach. But the tight end for the Cardinals. Weaver was making the adjustments. This guy's not working. Hey, David Long Jr., you're just not working this year in my system. We're going to let you go. And he ended up really not playing. He made the adjustments. We need to move this guy here. We need to do this, do that. Whereas Mike McDaniel was like, our guards aren't working. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw a pitch and have our guards pull, and hopefully they can get out and block. That's not going to work. I'm going to keep throwing screens. Even though last year, and I showed you guys the statistics, you can go back and watch the video. Last year, we saw more cover twos and threw it down the field more. We saw more deep coverage last year than we did this year, but he consistently was throwing it to the outside. And why was he throwing screens and quick passes and stuff? Because the offensive line was bad. And why was the offensive line bad? Because he didn't make the adjustments. Isaiah Wynn didn't come in forever. Could he have not been healthy? That's a possibility. But the adjustments weren't made. And you saw the adjustments being made on defense. So there's a lot of things that need to be fixed and adjustments. But again, I think maybe if we had a better offensive line, which again is their own fault, our play would have been different. Because if you remember, not last season, the season before that, 2023, well, technically we're still in the 2024 season. We get until Sunday. So I'm going to say last season's 2023. When our offensive line was healthy, when we had Connor Williams in there, Isaiah Wynn, Robert Hunt, Teron Armstead, and Austin Jackson, we were air raiding it. We dropped 70 on the Broncos. Like, we were doing really well. It wasn't until Connor Williams went down, Isaiah Wynn went down, Liam Eichenberg, that our offense kind of started to stall a little bit. So, again, that's something they should have saw. That's where the adjustments come in. So it's that whole debate. Is it the plays on the talent on the field or the coaches? And to me, I think a big portion and a big reason why we struggled in certain aspects of the game was because of the talent on the field. So and Doug, what's the point? I'm not upset with running it back with this offensive, with the coaching staff. I say that because I have no choice. You guys know I don't want Greer there. But you look at Weaver, you look at Bevel, you look at some other guys that we've kept, Butch Berry, all those other guys. I'm not upset with that. I think they did good, especially Weaver. I think he really did well. And we had a good defense under Weaver. And I think this is another offseason, especially if they can clear the cap, where they can start getting defensive players that fit in Weaver's system. The offense, we don't need much. Get us a big physical receiver, get us some guards and depth on the offensive line, and that's all you really need. And another tight end. I'm moving on from Durham Smythe and Julian Hill, for the love of God. It's mostly defense that we need help with. So then that's a whole video in itself. And I'm going to start those videos after Sunday because we got to get ready for free agency. Because after Sunday, we have about a month until free agency starts on March 14th. And on the 18th is when the franchise tag starts. So got a lot to talk about. Real quick before we get out of here, I just want to touch upon the Senior Bowl and then give you guys your trivia. So the Senior Bowl, Jack Beck, MVP, got the game-winning touchdown, emotional about his brother's passing, 6 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown. D-line played really well. There were some aspects, again, Gray on the offensive line played well. Dart played well in some aspects of it. When I clicked it on to watch it, I saw the scramble touchdown and then the 2-point conversion. But I'm going to go more in detail after the combine and stuff. And that's really when, after free agency, we get into the draft stuff and I start breaking down prospects in each position and do a lot of stuff. So I got a lot going on for the channel. We're going to talk about the cap space. We're going to talk about who we should cut, who we should resign, free agent targets, draft prospects. We're going to be doing mock drafts when the schedule's released in May. We'll talk about that. Needs in the offseason going into free agency and into the draft. So I got a lot planned for you guys before we get out of here. On this date in 1945, Bob Griese was born in Evansville, Indiana, the Dolphins Pro Bowl Hall of Fame quarterback with the number 4 overall pick out of Purdue. In the first combined NFL AFL draft in 1967, who was the only single caller selected ahead of him in that draft? I wouldn't even know that. So again, who was the only quarterback selected in the 1967 draft before Bob Griese? That is Steve Spurrier. Whoa, Steve Spurrier by the 49ers, number 3, ended up becoming a head coach. How about that? I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to do a tier list. We're going to have some fun. But like usual, stay classy. Have fun top.